These are 3 basic accessories to shoot great, smooth video. I wanted to start a short series of basic accessories and help you out when you are just starting out in your video production. Before starting out, you can find in the link in the description some great shooting tips and also tutorials with all the gear for your basic filmmaking experience. Let's suppose that you already bought your first camera, and no matter what brand, you will be always able to apply these basics to shoot great video. These days, the best way is to actually get a mirrorless camera with already a kit lens or start with a prime lens. When you are just starting out, the best way to start is actually to get a zoom lens, or actually your kit lens will be also a zoom. So you will be having more focal range to shoot and different type of scenarios ready to go. When you get more comfortable when shooting, you will be more experienced and you will be ready to get your first prime lens. So my recommendation for the first so-called accessory is to actually get a prime lens. And my thing is always to get the so-called nifty 50 or a 50mm in the full frame equivalent. The 50mm lens will be a great starter because it will give you the amount of framing just like your eyes see it, and it will be a great starter lens. The common aperture on a standard 50mm lens is an 1.8 aperture. If you have a more bigger budget, you could go always for an 1.4 aperture. It will give you more light in low light scenarios. Depending on your camera sensor size and brand, this math and this chart will make your life easier for your choice. If you own a Micro Four Thirds camera like Olympus, Panasonic GH5 or Blackmagic 4K, your crop factor will be multiplied by 2 times. So an 25mm lens will be equivalent to an 50mm in full frame. If you have an APS-C size sensor like this Sony a6400 or an Canon M50 or the Fuji X-T3, an 30mm lens equivalent will get you around 45mm in full frame, and you will be close to that 50mm that we were talking before. If you have a full frame camera just like the Sony a7 III that I'm filming right now with a 50mm, or a Canon variant or Nikon, well, in that case you will have to choose a true 50mm, just like this vintage 50mm 1.4 from Canon. The second and the most important accessories to get a smooth looking image are ND filters. The ND filters will allow you to stop the light entering your sensor, and you're asking me, why should I stop the light? Well, we are getting to a standard common rule in filmmaking. They call it the 180 shutter degree rule. Basic thing: if you are shooting 24 frames per second, 25 frames per second, your shutter speed should be double. If you are shooting in a higher frame rate like 50 or 60 frames, apply the same math. So, if you are shooting 25 frames per second, your shutter speed should be 50. Apply these settings for all your frame rates on your camera. When you are shooting in a bright day and you want to apply these rules, the ND filter will allow you to shoot in a wider aperture just like 1.8 and follow the shutter rules. There are 2 variants of ND filters: variable ND filters and ND filters with fixed ND stops. Fixed ND filters will give you just 1 stop of light depending on which ND filter you choose to stop the light. So this is an ND64 and it will be just fine for bright days. I would always recommend to get around 3 ND filters with variable stops, like ND8 for shooting in a sunset or no so sunny day, and ND32 for a wider range bright day, and the ND64 for a really bright middle of the day lighting scene. If you are going for variable ND stops, ND filters, you have a solution actually to get just 2 ND filters and cover all the ND stop range. And yes, Freewell makes these filters and they are really great. It will always depend on your style of shooting. 3 or 2 to follow your shutter speed rule. And lastly, for a great smooth video capture, you will need to get an 3-axis gimbal. There are many brands that offer 3-axis stabilized gimbals like MAURO'S, DJI, Zhiyun, Feiyote and others. And they will be mostly doing the same thing. Stabilize your shots and make them smooth without bumps or visible jitters. When just starting out, I would always recommend to get a lighter gimbal, just like the MAURO'S Aircross 2, the DJI Ronin SC and the Zhiyun Weebill S. From my experience, the Weebill S and the MAURO'S Aircross 2 will give you the most configurability and the most accessories that you can mount on these tiny gimbals and get you going for a longer time. When starting out, you want things that work perfectly and you don't want to mess around with settings and things that you don't even understand. Bonus tip. Just add a lightweight, small, cheap microphone just like the Rode Video Micro and you will be more than ready to shoot. All the links for the basic accessories will be linked in the description. What do you think, guys? Do you want more basic filmmaking tips like this? Comment section down below. Thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe with the bearing icon to get notified every time I make a new video, and see you on my next one.